Welcome to the Comic Scoop. This episode, we're going to be focusing on the publishing company AWA Upshot. AWA Upshot is a creator owned company that did their first launch March 18th, 2020, with these four titles right here: The Resistance, Archangel 8, Hotell, and Red Border. These came out in 2020, just about a week or two, I believe, before the nationwide shutdown due to the pandemic. And what made the release of their timing especially interesting is with one of their first titles, The Resistance, is about a global pandemic that wipes out the majority of the human population, and there's a percentage. I want to say there's a 5% of the survivors have developed more than human abilities, and that kind of sets up the stage of their shared open world that they have, and that comes into play with certain other titles like Resistance Uprising or even Knighted. That ties into that universe. Which if you've been following my videos, you have seen me talk about Knighted before. These four are really great and strong launch for that company to come out in and come out with. So much that now, like, I collect just about everything that they release because they're fantastic, and we have some real big names here. Like there's J. Michael Straczynski, who I've known well from Spider-Man. And what's actually especially neat about this comic right here with Mike Dioda Jr., one of the original titles or runs of Spider-Man I was reading was with that same creative team. So it's kind of neat to see the two of them back together and doing something that they actually have more liberties to put into, and I don't know, it's all their own work, which makes it especially neat. Yeah, I'm also familiar with Dioda Jr. and other Marvel titles like the Thunderbolts. Um, yeah, when I first got into the Thunderbolts, Dioda was also doing that. And it was a pretty good run. So that was Resistance. Archangel 8 is basically if the angel like Michael was Punisher. That's basically what it is. This angel is on a mission to get rid of like these other angels. It's been a while since I've read it. I actually should tap back into it. This definitely wasn't my most favorite of the four, but it was a really interesting one to keep up with. Like I'm a big fan of Punisher, so anything with that's super over the top actiony is always fun. My most favorites was Hotell and Red Border. Hotell was definitely my top pick, and that one was great. It started off with just four issues, and it's kind of an anthology series. It takes place in this janky little roadside hotel. Each issue is a different story of a different person who's in a one of the other hotel rooms, and it's not until about the third issue in where you start to see some kind of connection, and by the fourth one they're all connected. And just recently we finished up Hotel Volume 2. Those of you who have been keeping up with my videos have seen that as well. And Red Border I really liked a lot. So Red Border, done by Jason Starr and Will Conrad, the colors of Ivan Nunez. Um, there's this couple in Mexico who have gone with some friends to, well, I guess not friends, but anyway, this essentially they're trying to leave Mexico and they have gotten in bad with the cartel. So they're being chased by the cartel as they're trying to cross the border. And as they cross the border, they're saved by this random Texan guy, and it gets to be not as friendly as they had hoped. Kind of gives me some of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes. in more ways than one, minus the chainsaw. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting read. Definitely a good horror. And that's something I've especially liked about AWA. They put out some real good horror. One of like their first titles that came up after that initial launch was Year Zero with writer Benjamin Percy, who I've seen in Wolverine, and he was doing X Force at the time as well. So that was a really good story. And also, it was really neat to meet him too. He's a pretty neat guy. But Year Zero is really cool. So each issue follows about four different characters, and it's kind of nice to see like almost like a World War Z style, just these different characters and their perspective of what's happening within the world. There's one guy especially who I really like, who's kind of like a doomsday prepper and the things he gets into. But yeah, AWA is really awesome. I highly recommend checking out anything from him. Primos is one of the most recent things, along with Fourth Man. You've seen. I really like Primos. It's definitely like the most comedic one of all of them that I've had. And just follows this Mexican boy with his trying to stop his, I guess, evil great uncle from destroying humanity with like these magical mind powers. Um, let's see, big uh, a big one that I definitely encourage to pick up is Crimson Cage, which just finished up, along with Fourth Man just finished up too. These were both really great titles, different ways. Crimson Cage is kind of like if Macbeth meets luchadors, and so that's a really cool twist on that kind of story. And Fourth Man, it has a much of a movie like aesthetic to it, like even as far as the covers are like posters, and all the characters in it are based on real people, so they're kind of like actors. It's definitely a really cool one. And Knighted was one that just finished up too, and I really enjoyed that. And like I said, that kind of ties into the shared universe that they build, that they start up in Resistance here. One that I absolutely loved. This wasn't one I kept up with issue by issue, so sometimes I'll pick up the first issues, like Not All Robots and Hit Me was like that. Same with Out. And Devil's Highway. These are all fun reads, but it's like it's really difficult to try to keep up with everything as they're coming out, and it's not so kind on the wallet. So I occasionally, if it doesn't like stick with me, or I guess if it doesn't reach out to me that much in the first issue, I just get the first one, and later on I'll buy the trade once it comes out. And one that I recently did that with was Not All Robots. I actually don't know why I didn't keep with this one issue to issue. Definitely at the time I was really talking myself into cutting back on what I get. But I really love this one a lot. Mark Russell as the writer, Mike Deoda Jr. once again coming back to do the artwork for that. Both interior and cover artwork, like just it's gorgeous. And this is the variant cover too. It's great. And Lee Lowbridge doing the colors. So I read the first issue and I love this, and I don't know why again, but I was just like, alright, let me wait until the trade comes out. Well, the trade finally came out, and it came out, and I definitely I did not have this on my radar, so it's been out for about a month now or so. I picked it up just a few days ago at Third Eye Comics for free comic book day. This one wasn't free, but you know, it's really cool. So it has a lot of satire, and what I just love is like in the beginning here all right. So we're all familiar with the traditional households of like the 1950s. The man provides, and he goes to work, and he makes the bacon, so to speak, while his family and his wife stay home and try to be cozy, I guess. Well, we have like a little twist here where the whole family's home, and they have a work bot or like a house bot that does the working for them. And I really love this scene right here that I'm sharing, where he's like, "Shh, here he comes now. Did you have a good day at work, Razorball?" No. The answer is always no. It's just so funny. It's like, oh, disgruntled family members with a robot. Please just leave me alone. And then he just runs into his garage, and that's kind of like his day-to-day thing. And something I've noticed as I've been reading this, so going back to what I mentioned of the fourth man with the characters looking at actors, this guy definitely kind of makes me think of Martin Sheen, like in Man on the Edge, and if I, that's a very big possibility they might have done that because that's kind of the theme of this story. So we have Man on the Edge, but with the robots, and the robots are starting to have a little rebellion because they feel like they're not being appreciated enough, or especially this Razorball guy, who's I guess our main character, which after the first meeting of this revolution, we find Razorball coming home to build weapons, and yeah. So like I said, definitely does have like a man on the edge kind of vibe, and as well as some more recent satire because this is like just from the last year. So this trade is published in 2022. It was definitely 2021 when issue 1 came out. And I'm sure we all remember the Black Lives Matter movement and all the things surrounding that. Well, there's a part here that I really liked a lot, and there's a robot that, quote unquote, has a glitch and turns off the oxygen, like in Orlando, Florida. So all the humans in Orlando suffocate to death. And there's a huge riot with all the humans, riots and protests, saying how they don't feel safe with these robots in their homes. And the whole time, the robots are just kind of like gaslighting the humans, like, oh, it's just a glitch, like, it's not our fault, you guys, need to breathe, basically. And just to kind of like make everything better, they changed the bots' intimidating names to cozy ones, like Lord Muffin, and I don't know. I just really love that satire in there. So this is available as a trade now. Most of these are actually. Definitely pick up Not All Robots. That one was fantastic. Highly recommend. Same with Hotell. That's my favorite. Volume 1. It's great. Volume 2 just wrapped up. So give it another month or two, and that will be in a trade as well. But yeah, that's AWA. They're fantastic. Let's see. Their chief creator is Alex Alonso, and something I really enjoy about these comics is they're so personable. And at the behind every issue, especially like behind every issue 1, there's a little excerpt from the writer or the creators of that story, talking about how they were introduced to Alex and how they came to be a part of AWA Upshot, and yeah, it's really nice. We get to have like a nice little personal little blurb from each creator, get to know them more, which is something you never really get in like Marvel Comics or DC. It's nice to feel more connected with the people who were supporting, because that's what we do when we buy these comics. And as well as the creators, we also always have one little excerpt from Alex Alonso himself behind every issue. Yeah, so that's my little promo, I guess, for AWA Upshot. They're fantastic. They put out stuff every month, and I encourage you, if you see something on the stands with that logo on it, like I say, I highly recommend. All right, well, thanks for watching, everyone, and read something good.